Welcome to today's Explainer. If you're aiming for medical or dental school in 2027, you've probably heard whispers about the ultimate threshold guardian you'll be facing in 2026, the UCAT. Well, today we are breaking it all down and giving you a rock-solid tactical blueprint.
So let me ask you something. Do you think an above-average score guarantees you a med school interview? Yeah, think again. Just recently, a candidate posted a 2710 online. Her tutor hyped it up, saying it was this great above-average score. But 3 weeks later, total rejection from Monash University. It's brutal, but it brilliantly highlights the most dangerous trap in UCAT prep, that massive, massive gap between a global average and the actual competitive cutoffs.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our tactical blueprint for today. 1. Welcome to the UCAT. 2. Who needs the UCAT? 3. Breaking down the modules. 4. What is a good score? And 5. Winning strategies for test day. We are taking you from baseline confusion straight to absolute test day readiness.
All right, part 1. Welcome to the UCAT.
So what exactly is the enemy we're conquering today? The UCAT, or University Clinical Aptitude Test, is a 117-minute computer-based exam. But listen, here's what you really need to wrap your head around. This is not your typical high school exam. No one's testing your biology, chemistry, or physics knowledge here. Instead, it's measuring things like problem solving, empathy, and critical thinking. And it does this under such extreme time pressure that, honestly, the vast majority of students don't even finish it. Moving on to part 2. Who needs the UCAT? Well, if you're looking at top-tier universities, we're talking Monash, UNSW Sydney, the University of Adelaide, King's College London, or the University of Edinburgh, you absolutely need this score. The UCAT is a strict, non-negotiable entry requirement for undergrad medicine and dentistry courses across the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. The cutoffs might vary a bit depending on where you apply, but make no mistake, the stakes are universally high. In fact, your score here often carries just as much weight, if not more, than your final high school grades. All right, let's look at part 3, breaking down the modules. You're going to face 4 subtests in this exact order, and I really want to explicitly call out these brutal time limits. Look at verbal reasoning. 44 questions in just 22 minutes. You literally have about 30 seconds to read a dense paragraph, maybe about something dry like historical farming practices, and then deduce a logical conclusion. After that, it's decision-making, with 35 questions in 37 minutes, quantitative reasoning with 36 questions in 26 minutes, and then boom, situational judgment throws 69 questions at you in 26 minutes. Now a quick but massive warning right here. Abstract reasoning? It was officially removed from the UCAT starting in 2025. So if you've got a tutor or you're using a prep book that's telling you to study shape patterns and abstract reasoning for a 2026 entry, throw that advice out the window. Seriously, your resources are hopelessly outdated and you're just wasting precious study time. Altogether, you're tackling a whopping 184 questions. And here's a critical mechanical detail about how the exam actually works. These modules are strictly independently timed, meaning if you happen to finish quantitative reasoning 2 minutes early, you can't just roll that extra time over into situational judgment. Nope. Time saved in one subtest stays in that subtest. That makes nailing your independent pacing for every single module absolutely critical. Which brings us to part 4. What is a good score? So the crucial point here is really understanding that huge gap between average and competitive. The UCAT Consortium publishes an average score of around 2,500, which is right at the 50th percentile. But remember, that average includes, well, everybody. It includes people who barely prepped, people taking it as a fallback, or folks just having a terrible day. Top schools like UNSW and Monash, they aren't interviewing the average. They strictly filter for the 80th to 90th percentiles. Realistically, you need to score somewhere between 2,800 and 2,900 plus to actually be in the safe zone. Let's talk about the number 2,700. The cognitive sections, verbal, decision, and quantitative reasoning, are scored out of 2,700 total. That's a maximum of 900 points each. Now, scoring a 2,700 total keeps you in the conversation globally, putting you roughly around the 70th percentile. But if you're aiming for high-demand Australian undergraduate pathways, a 2,700 is still considered borderline. Sure, it might scrape you an interview if you've got a flawless high school rank, like an amazing ATAR, but man, it's risky. Let's break down those typical mean scores by section. Verbal reasoning is almost always the lowest scoring section globally, averaging around 590. Meanwhile, decision-making and quantitative reasoning sit a bit higher, generally in the mid-600s. So why does this matter to you? Well, if everyone struggles with verbal reasoning, pulling off just a 100-point boost there gives you a massive competitive advantage. It'll drastically pull up your total score. And finally, we have the Situational Judgment Test, or SJT. Now, this one is scored completely separately in bands 1 through 4, with band 1 being the absolute best. Please, whatever you do, do not underestimate this section. It's testing your alignment with professional medical ethics, not just some generic gut instinct. Top schools very often require a band 1 or 2. Scoring a band 3 or 4, that can automatically close doors for you, no matter how incredibly you did on the cognitive sections.
All right, part 5, winning strategies for test day. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is we're giving you the actual weapons to conquer this thing.
Here is your 3-phase boot camp style study plan. Step 1. In weeks 1 and 2, you've got to establish your baseline. Go take one of the official UCAT Consortium mocks under strict timing. Step 2. Weeks 3 to 8. This is for structured drilling. You need to focus heavily on your weakest sections. Seriously, don't just practice what you're already good at just because it feels nice. It's a trap. Step 3, weeks 9 and 10 are for full mocks. Simulate exact exam conditions. I mean, no pauses, no extra time, just you and the clock. When test day actually arrives, it's all about tactical execution. Let's rapid fire through some tricks. For verbal reasoning, scan for keywords. Do not read the whole passage first, or you are definitely going to run out of time. Also, watch out for totalizing language. If an option claims, "No one ever survived the treatment," that word "ever" is a huge red flag that it's a false statement. Remember, 30 seconds per question is just an average, it's not a golden rule. Bank time on the easy ones to spend on the harder ones. And most importantly, there is absolutely no negative marking in the UCAT. If you're out of time, guess. Never, ever leave a blank. I want you to take a breath and really think about this quote. Stress is the enemy of memory and quick comprehension. You absolutely have to find your UCAT zen, especially during verbal reasoning. If you hit a brutally hard question, flag it, guess, and move on. Martyring yourself on a single impossible question is going to completely ruin your pacing, and it robs you of all those easy points that are waiting just a few clicks away. Now, when it comes to quantitative reasoning, you might be internally panicking about the math. Don't. It is entirely about speed and pattern recognition, not advanced mathematics. We're talking basic, high school level math here. Your success relies on extreme calculator fluency, getting lightning fast with that on-screen number pad, and efficiently extracting data from charts and tables. Our core philosophy for UCAT prep is incredibly simple. Familiarity is power. Exposing yourself to thousands of high-quality practice questions is quite literally the only way to win. You want to practice until the cognitive patterns in decision-making or the inference scanning in verbal reasoning just become an absolute reflex. You want the whole shebang to feel like pure muscle memory on exam day. So we've broken down the stakes, the scoring, reality checks, and the winning strategies. The only thing left now is action. Are you really going to rely on a generic above-average score, or are you going to train for the 90th percentile? Stop guessing where you stand, start your targeted practice journey right now, and go conquer the UCAT. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll
Find out exactly where you stand on the UCAT. Take a free mock test on Edrizz today.